This doc was such a spiral. It really, really was. If you don't know this documentary, let's go ahead and take a look. Are you ready?
911, what's your emergency? Somebody came from behind me and shoved me against my wall and started to choke me and was telling me that I'm gonna fucking get it.
They tried to move and he grabbed me. He had me pinned back by the hair of the neck. My husband's ex has been threatening to rape, kill my child.
The strange and violent stalking case. Police say a woman used an online ad to terrorize another woman.
I got another email from her. She's been at my work. She knows what I look like.
How do we combat this woman? What do we do?
So we open up in Anaheim, California, which is just outside of LA. And the first person that we run into is Leslie. We will get to this bitch in a minute, but she is Ian's best friend. She says that she would trust him with her entire life. They have been just friends for almost 20 years. They worked together at Disneyland, and then his family moved, and so she kind of became Ian's only support. She was so annoying. I have so many opinions on her, but so does pretty much everybody else, right? And then we have Ian. So I'm kind of introducing the characters. We have Ian, who applied to be a deputy for U.S. Marshals. Leslie described him as wanting to be married and have kids. Now, we notice at the beginning of the documentary, we don't hear Ian talking or see him interviewed. And y'all know my first question when people start talking about a person is like, where the hell is Ian? We'll get there too. So Ian met Angela. They were excited because they wanted the same things, like having kids. Ian says that Angela was a sweetheart and proposed. This is crazy, y'all. He proposed to Angela after 3 weeks of knowing her. So they met, and here we go. I'm going to do a little bit of mixing facts that I found versus what the documentary had. So the documentary says that Angela met Ian at Starbucks and they just hit it off. That is not what happened. They met on an online dating service. Their first date was at Starbucks. So they met up. They didn't meet at Starbucks. Because that was the first thing that kind of caught my eye, because I don't know if y'all have ever been to Starbucks, but if I were to be at a Starbucks, everything that I would do at a Starbucks would not say, hey, come talk to me. You know, I'd either be working on a laptop, reading a book in my own world. I'd be executing the same behavior as if I was like, you know, a solo person on a flight, right? Don't talk to me behavior. And then we're also introduced to Michelle. I'm going to go ahead and say the stuff that was not mentioned in the documentary. Oh, yeah. Oh, delighted. Oh, here we go. First bombshell. Are y'all ready? There it goes. Okay. So Angela met Ian on an online dating site, and they had their first date January 2nd, 2016, and he proposed to her January 29th of the same year. 2 weeks after their announcement, Angela announces she's pregnant. Angela moves into the condo on Friday, February 19th. They wanted Angela to be on the insurance because she didn't have any, so they have a courthouse ceremony on February 22nd, 3 days after. And then in April, we're going to get to this. In April, she was struck with a miscarriage and they wanted to try for a baby right away. So she became pregnant with twins in mid-May 2016. This is from the sources of Casefile Podcast. Their sources were impeccable and that was a great listen. So if you haven't listened to Casefile Podcast, go check out that episode. It's under Michelle Hadley. So in the documentary, I know we're dropping bombshells. I'm telling you, there's going to be some stuff that you're going to be like, oh, okay. So May 2016. So Angela has been receiving these emails from somebody named Lilith is Truth. They're like biblical, crazy, threatening. The documentary goes over the definition of Lilith, which I'm not going to do, but if you want to look it up, Cliff's Notes version, it's like the female version of Satan, but whatever. Angela was so upset. Oh my God. And then there was like video in the documentary of like what looked like somebody could be lurking out of the condos. Outside the condo. And then there were like captions in the emails that said stuff like, hello, Angela, let's play a game. Watch as you walk. Good luck getting back to the condo and you have stolen my life. And then a few months before meeting Angela, I don't think the music in the background is going to work. So a few months before meeting Angela, Ian broke up with Michelle and they were still tied together because of the condo. And then we hit June 3rd, 2016.
Well, I had a report person yesterday, just wondering what happened today.
Today, I got another email from her. She's been at my work, so she knows what I look like. She's described what I dressed in detail last night. And it's like I'm either safer in my home, where at least I know that I'm okay, or I go to work and risk it. And I don't even know her capability. I've never met the woman. So I'm dealing with this unknown. The gal at the sheriff's office said, you need to call them out again and request an emergency protective order. Oh, yeah.
You understand that the emergency protective order. They're typically for domestic violence. Somebody got arrested, and the problem is she's not served yet. It's a criminal threat, but can't do anything until you get her.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Hopefully you can.
Ian and Angela were worried because Anaheim PD don't have enough probable cause to arrest Michelle.
And yeah, so that was the police body cam footage of them calling 911 after the first couple of threatening emails. So Angela was like super distraught. The horror, the terror. So she files a restraining order. And then Leslie, the just friend, she's just friends, you guys. She offers to serve the restraining order and was hoping it would put an end to it.
I offered to serve the restraining order to Michelle. I was nervous. But I was really, really hoping that would put an end to it and everything can quiet down.
Everything on this is so ominous with the violin and everything. Michelle looks creepy as fuck. What they don't mention here is that Leslie was escorted with police officers. There were actually police officers there were two of them. So it's not like she served it herself and she's like this great hero or whatever. But that's not really a bombshell. That's just something I'm throwing out there. The next day, police receive another phone call.
Anaheim Police Department dispatch. Hi, I have several reports with you guys over a temporary restraining order. It was served upon the person that I need protection from.
This is a long one, by the way.
She sends her crazy, threatening, violent, I'm going to kill you emails. She actually did it right after the cops went to her house in Ontario, served her. An hour later, I got another one, and it's insane, including really graphic photographs. I was advised by my attorney to contact you guys once again to see if she could get arrested. But this has gone on far too long, and she's obviously violated the no contact order. Your name is? Angela, and the last name is Diaz, D-I-A-Z. Okay, I'll get to the call out.
Okay. Come on in, guys.
We even get body cam footage.
These emails have pictures of decapitated people, aborted fetuses, decapitated fetuses. You guys are the third group of officers to come here. Tonight, this week. So, restraining order, and then this is the proof of service. Okay. How long have you known her for? 2 years we were together, and that ended in August. So, I mean, do I know her now? No.
You hate them all, I'm telling you. There's actually one person that
into that bathroom right there.
I kind of.
And
we'll get there.
How long have you known her for? 2 years we were together, and that ended in August. So, I mean, do I know
okay,
her
y'all
now?
can see.
No.
This is my Netflix. I actually kind of recorded these clips. So that's something we're going to come back to in just a
She
second.
took a knife into that bathroom right there, and told me that she had a moment where she wanted to kill herself.
And she threatened to burn this motherfucker down with both of them in it.
When a week before she left, she was very emotional. This is August of last year. Yeah, this is in August of last year. A week before she left, last week of August, she told me, in a crying fit of rage, with her eyes wide open, but tears straining down her face, freaking, that she wished she could burn this whole motherfucker down with me, you, and the dog in it. Or I have yours.
And I haven't seen my friends. I haven't seen anybody. My mom has to come out here. Like, everybody's lives have to be halted for a minute because she's crazy.
Now, I will say, this documentary does some crazy shit with somebody. If you've never seen this, it throws you for one loop after another. So, this body cam footage, they're talking about how they have like decapitated fetuses. They're getting pictures of gruesome stuff. And then 2 years they were together, and that ended in August. We're going to put a pin in that too, because I'm telling you, the police's negligence in this and every step of the way pisses me off so much. Flames on the side of my face. So then we start getting, she starts bombarding her with like Craigslist ads. So this is kind of where this all escalates. So these Craigslist ads start popping up with a fantasy rape, with photos inviting the guy to do crazy stuff to her. That was June 4th on that body cam footage. Now let's fast forward to June 13th. So we're hearing from a man who received the message. He said he was excited. He was going to get this done. And he saw the name. He walks up to the door and he sees the name Ian Diaz. And he's like, no, I changed my mind. Because he was like, I'm not going to be a homewrecker, which I was like, you know what? Good for you, sir. But he didn't want to be like a homewrecker. He didn't want to get himself into a situation that would like harm him, because like, what if the man comes in or whatever? Whatever his intentions was, he dips out. He's like, I'm not dealing with this. But because of these ads that were happening, we've got another call to the police.
224. I'm 97 and I'm at apartment 2. The only description that they have is that it's a male in dark clothing. So we have the helicopter up above. Obviously, make sure your doors are locked and all that. And if you think the guy's back, or he's sending you guys emails, or if he knocks on the door, give us a call back.
Thank you very much.
No problem. No worries.
Right. So the description is a male in dark clothing. And I'm like, if he came to the door and saw Ian Diaz, y'all have a Ring camera. We've established that. Wouldn't y'all be able to see him? I don't know. So they have helicopters flying around looking for this guy. And at this point in the documentary, I knew nothing about this case. And I'm literally like, why isn't Michelle in custody right now? At least being like, investigated. Leslie says that she thinks that they needed to move. And then Ian said he was incredibly stressed out. I'm like, whatever. So fast forward a week and 3 days. We are at June 24th. June 24th. Now, this is the call that we hear at the beginning during the trailer, right? So this is the call.
911, somebody came from behind me and shoved me against my wall and started to choke me and were telling me that I'm gonna fucking get it and it's time for me to get raped. Okay, how many individuals were there? Just one, and he was wearing a black thing over his face. Like a black ski mask? Yeah. Okay, we have somebody on the way right now, okay, ma'am? Okay. Your officer yet? Yeah, he's actually right here with me. He's with you? Yeah.
Can I turn the light on? Is that alright?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, is that your makeup on the wall right there? Yeah. Okay.
I just didn't know what was happening, and then all he said was, I tried to move and he grabbed me. He had me pinned back by the hair of the neck and stuff like that. And he told me that now you're going to get it. You're finally going to get raped. For about a month, my husband's ex has been threatening to kill my child.
So what's her name?
The girl's Michelle Hadley.
What wall did he actually pitch you looking at? Here?
First it was a knock here, right here, and then here was my face.
Okay. If I find that from another Craigslist ad that this guy showed up, probably, and she's probably responding to him too, and didn't send it to you or send it to somebody else, so who knows where it went, if I'm trying to get you a warrant. Here's what's gonna happen, okay? I have a warrant in my car, and I'm gonna go out there and grab it.
Y'all saw the body cam footage. It was a man that came up to her saying these threats, which did y'all see where the garage was in proximity to everything else? There was no numbers on the houses and they were like really close together. I'm like, how did he know which garage to go to, first of all? Second of all, and then her makeup was on the wall and the police think it's from another Craigslist ad. Now I had not known anything about the case itself. In my head, I'm like, arrest her. Like, what are we doing? At least investigate her, please. Like, there were security cameras everywhere. She didn't have any injuries from what I could tell. But I did look at the research for, I think it was Casefile Podcast, who disclosed that she had a bruise on her left. No, it was her right temple and bruising on the left side of her neck, which is also really weird. So they go to arrest Michelle. They're like, this is enough. Okay, fine. Enough is enough. We'll go arrest Michelle Hadley. And we kind of have some information from an interrogation, and they're going over some stuff with Michelle.
Okay, why don't you give us your full and complete name, please?
Michelle Suzanne Hadley.
And what's your date of birth?
12/20/1986.
All right. Michelle, one of the things that you have to keep in mind is you have to be completely truthful and candid with us today. So if we find out that anything you've said is untrue, then I can use the statements you give to us today in trial. Before I start, though, you kind of see all these emails here? There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I've been more than patient with you. My patience has come to an end. And then on the email, September 10th, 2015, this is a reference towards Lilith. Get ready, the truth is coming. God's laws above all laws, including the law of man. So did you write this?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, this documentary really fucks with you here, and it's one thing that pissed me off. So she admits, yes, she did write that email, which is true. Did y'all see the date on when that email was sent? It was September 15th, 2015 of the previous year. So we're like, what, 8-9 months past? And there were no other emails or correspondence or threatening emails in between? I don't know. It's just a little suspicious, but she admits to writing them. And then we're introduced to Michelle Hadley. Oh, girl, I'm telling you, it gets crazy. Okay, so we're introduced to Michelle Hadley. She's like, I don't know where this came from. She grew up with religion. Again, sometimes religion isn't for everybody, okay? And she kind of describes Lilith as like the anti-Jesus. And then we kind of get Michelle's backstory. So she met Ian in 2013. And before this, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one in here. Michelle had been previously married for 4 years. She married her high school sweetheart. 4 years afterwards, she divorced him and then met Ian. She says that she wanted the white picket fence life. She was really into Disney princesses. She watched all the Disney princess shows on TV. I think she meant movies because I don't know what shows there were. Ian was really into Disneyland because remember, he used to work there. He went all the time, 2 or 3 times a week. Red flag for me. But red flag that should have been for her is they start talking about their favorite Disney princesses. Listen to what Ian says.
We were talking about princesses, and he told me his favorite princess was Belle. That was his type, and that I was like her.
What the fuck? So his favorite Disney princess was like Belle, the Stockholm Syndrome princess, and that she was her. And I was like, That would have been, I would have been like, we're done. I mean, the fact that we're like Disney adults, I'm sorry if you are. I'm sure you're great people. But I mean, that just freaked me out completely. They go and take a trip to New York a few weeks later in the winter. You can see this video of them together, and then they decide to move in together. Disney adults are not for me, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you are one. Like, I love Disney, but I'm not going to the place spending more money than I can afford. No, like if I had the funds to go, so I'm not going to Disney World or Disneyland, whatever. Especially Disneyland. That's where they were. It's not even the world, the land. So they move in together and buy a condo. Now this condo is, to me, in my opinion, the entire reason for everything that happens. And I will explain myself later. So the deal was that she would do the down payment and he would pay the mortgage. And the apartment was in downtown Anaheim. It was like 10 minutes away from Disney. They were able to see the fireworks show from like the balcony or whatever. It was like the perfect space for Michelle. Like she was getting her fairy tale story written or whatever. But once they moved in, things took a turn for the worst. Oh, should I mention this now or should I wait until I go over the basic points? I'm going to wait. We're going to wait on this. I'm going to go over this later, but this is another bombshell that I found. Okay. So we fast forward in the documentary to July 19th, but July 13th, Michelle is actually arrested for her big crimes. So this is when she gets arrested. And then we see news clips, so you can kind of see the details, but she pretty much has a $1 million
bill is behind bars this morning in connection with a strange and violent stalking case.
Michelle Hadley's facing felony stalking charges after harassing her ex-boyfriend's pregnant wife.
29-year-old Hadley used a rape fantasy online ad to send people to her ex-boyfriend's home. The man's new wife, who is pregnant, by the way, was actually attacked by one of the men who responded to the ad.
They say that she routed emails through different computers and servers trying to evade police. Hadley is being held on $1 million bail. If convicted, she faces up to life in prison.
Crazy town, right? Like $1 million bail and a possible life sentence. Y'all, I've seen people like with involuntary manslaughter that didn't have $1 million bail. But the reasoning that they had for this was because that she, was super dangerous. I mean, as soon as she got out from being arrested the first time, she immediately posted, like or sent another email and posted another ad or whatever. So we meet her dad, and God bless her parents. I'm telling you, her parents are the real heroes here. So Mike Hadley, he didn't know what to do. He was in shock. Yeah, your neighbor can terrorize you and kill you and get a lesser charge. Explain this to me. Worst neighbor next door, or worst neighbor ever. Seriously. Kill 2 people and get a lesser charge. Or, I'm sorry, she killed one, tried to kill the other, didn't work because she sucks. Anyway, Mike Hadley was her dad. He was in total shock, didn't know what to do. And it didn't really make sense to him. Like, Mike didn't believe it at all. And y'all, in the documentary, I was like, why doesn't he seemed like a decent human. And his main question was, he wants to know who is Lilith. And I was like, I thought we established this, but he was absolutely right. He says, I want to know who Lilith is. And I'm like, we don't know who that is? Wait, what? So let's rewind. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Angela. And we're introduced to a man named Jason Rayburn.
I was in a little bar called Out of Bounds in Huntington Beach. Noticed a really, really cute blonde walk through the doors. She was flashy. She was cute. She walked with swagger. She was hot. I must have mentioned at some point that I was in law enforcement, and she said, I am as well. I'm an attorney, and I work with Department of Justice. So we had that in common.
Also, what is her obsession with being an attorney? Anyway, so we meet Jason Rayburn. He noticed this blonde. She was hot, exchanged numbers. I was like, okay. And then one night, they're laying on the couch, and she says to him that she has cervical cancer, and it's progressed to stage 4. Girl, if you're going to lie about something, make sure that your lie doesn't end in death, because stage 4, I Googled this because I was like, I'm pretty sure any stage 4 cancer is like the incurable kind. I did look it up. Stage 4 cervical cancer is nearly incurable. Anyway, and then we're introduced to a lady named Mary, I'm going to butcher this last name, Mary Burkowski, and she was in 2014 a friend of Angela's at the time.
I met Angela back in 2014. She was just very warm and friendly, and I thought, oh my God, she's interested in my kids, and anybody wants to know about my kids, I instantly love.
Which I'm like, girl, hang on. All because somebody wants to know about your kids does not mean you should instantly love them, okay? We've learned that in a couple other documentaries. But she was feeling for Angela. She wanted to be super maternal. She felt very maternal towards her, wanted to be protective of her. Angela would just go to the Little League practice, and they would chat together about health, dreams. She said that Angela was afraid she was going to die. And then this is the thing when I was like, Angela kind of sold this, but she was, Mary says that she was starting to get thin, pale, and bad looking. And then she cut her hair short in support. and did the hashtag Angie Warrior on Facebook or whatever. I was like, oh, that's a sweet friend. Like, Mary, you good people. You good people. So let's go back to Jason. Remember the ex that he met this hot girl at the bar or whatever. So there's a doctor's appointment coming up.
There was one particular doctor appointment that Angela was going to. And so I said, I'm going. I'm absolutely going. I took the time off. I drove her there.
So yeah, he drove her there. He wanted to go with her. He took time off. He did the right thing. He did the boyfriend things. Good for you, Jason. Good for you. But she didn't want him to go in. She didn't want him to go in with her to the appointment, which I get kind of. Like there's some, it could be like new information that you might be getting. You don't want other people to know. You could be kind of embarrassed about it. I understand. But this wasn't one of those appointments. And he knew something was wrong. So he goes into the building and he walks up to the counter and he's like, hey, what kind of cancer treatment center is this? And finds out that she was there to have a mole on her ankle removed. What? And then this is when everybody kind of starts turning the tables on her. And they're like, Mary Perkovsky, she noticed that like when she would adjust her hat, because she was wearing like the beanie hats, that like hide, if you were bald going through chemo. She notices that Angela starts kind of like tucking her hair up into her hat. And she's not losing her hair. She's just tucking it in there. Okay, so then to, I guess, really sell the lie or whatever, Angela sends a photo of her first chemo to Jason.
Angela had text messaged me, or first person perspective, from sitting in the chair receiving her chemotherapy. And I thought, Angela's not in this picture. Is this real?
No, okay, so it's not a blood bag. I mean, chemo does look like that. But the fact of the matter, she just took a photo. And literally, if you look at chemo bag, it's literally like on Google Images. But for me, it's probably on Google Images because this documentary, like it's one of the first things that pops up. So this documentary probably made that photo famous. But Jason found the photograph, obviously. And then he's thinking like, oh, you don't know what it was? Okay, yeah. Because believe it or not, when I go to my headache clinic to get my ache bags or my migraine bags, they look just like that. They're a little bit lighter pink. And I think it's for me, it's from the Benadryl, or could be from the Toradol. I don't know. I think it's from the Toradol. But Jason's thinking, oh my gosh, how do I get this person out of my house? And then he finds a journal of hers. And girl is believing every lie that she is telling right now. And then he goes into another drawer and finds all of this medical tubing and gauze and all of this stuff that basically to make it look like she could stage a photo and make it look like that she was going through chemo and she did have cancer. So Jason, this is insane, y'all. I can't believe this is here. So we have a confrontation. Jason decides to set up kind of an intervention style confrontation with all of her friends and like loved ones in a room. Now they're not there to care for her. They're there to yell at her. And we have the footage.
It was time for a confrontation.
I had invited everybody in our circle that she had lied to, manipulated to my house. Come on, have a seat. Please have a seat.
She was, too.
Here's what's going on. Everybody in this room, you owe a big, huge apology.
For what?
Okay, for two things. One, everybody in this room is about to know that two things. You're not an attorney.
Yes, I actually am. I got the left grade. Okay. I laughed. It's like, okay, it's total bullshit.
Mary was ready to fuck her.
You don't have to answer.
Yes, I do. No, you don't.
Yes,
How
you
do you
don't.
know? Would you like to see records and everybody? What are you talking about? Yeah, let's see your port.
Angela,
Yeah,
just sit down.
Why?
Let's talk
what are
about
you guys
this.
talking about?
Will you please sit down?
That's fine.
Again, there's overwhelming proof that you don't have to answer.
Oh, actually,
so
that's
everybody in
funny.
this room has been deceived, and like I said, I'm more heartbroken than anything else.
I believed you and I welcomed you into my home and you lied to me. You lied to my children. I did not lie to you and I did not lie to your children. Show me your port. You're the one. Show me your port.
I had to blurt this out because they were like showing everybody.
Show me your port. Show me your port. It really fucking hurts. Show me your port.
This picture said battle juice, right?
Unwrap it.
Portraying yourself
Unwrap
as
it.
being sitting in the chair receiving chemotherapy. Okay?
Unwrap. See? There's nothing to show. You're a fucking liar. She's a liar.
Who's this girl? That's what I want to know. Who's this girl defending her?
Show your port. Show your port, liar. Show your port. You're probably even fired. You probably don't even have a job.
No, that adrenaline
Portion definitely makes sense when she's like, you're probably even fired. I was like, I know what was going on in her head. Because when your adrenaline is pumping and you're pissed, like sometimes your meaning comes out right, but it just doesn't sound as snappy. Anyway, on top of this, something that the documentary, oh, by the way, a port, when you're receiving chemo or any kind of treatment, really, it's not just for chemo. I actually had a best friend in elementary school. He had this condition where he was not able to eat. So he had a port. Basically what it is just a permanent IV. Like it's a place where they don't have to because they're going to have to keep sticking you otherwise. So instead, you just get a port. And what it is it's just a permanent IV. And that way, all they have to do is just attach the bag to your port and it goes right in. So that's what a port is. Yeah, because I had a friend in like elementary school. He couldn't eat or anything. And so he had like a feeding bag that he would just hook up to his port. It actually like hooked up right here. But yeah, so they're screaming, show us your port. Now because when I first saw this, I was like, wow, this is crazy dramatic. I'm here for it. But I feel like maybe they should have talked together first until I heard. So in the Casefile podcast, they uncovered that she had also been previously telling other people that Jason was abusive to her. And I was like, oh, okay. Filming the confrontation makes sense then. Good job, everybody. So we're back to 2016, we're back to Michelle, right? She's in jail. She's giving up hope because remember, she was just arrested with $1 million bail, possible life sentence. She's giving up hope. And then at this point, Angela and Ian have been together for 8 months. And she announced that twins were on the way. Ian was so excited. Then Leslie gets a call at 2 a.m. and Ian says, the twins are not real. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. So that's what kind of the previous story was alluding to, is that Angela's a liar. And so the story about her saying that she was pregnant with twins, the twins are not real. I'm going to explain my theory later on what I think happened here. And then trigger warning, trauma response. Okay, so the sonogram that she had was fake, but all of this, we're going to put a pin into it because these bombshells that I've uncovered, I was like, oh, and I started piecing it together. Things started to make more sense for me. So I'm hoping it will for you. So Ian confronted Angela. Like, how could you say this? And Angela, she leaves immediately. She's out of there. And so after she leaves, this is when Leslie, the best friend, comes in and starts helping Ian clean up and everything. And they were finding pregnancy tests with blue markers all over the house. And then we hear the interview about Angela with Ian.
This is put it lightly, a monster of a case. And our job is to figure it out, to find out who's doing what. And we appreciate you coming in here and making a statement. No problem at all. So let's talk about Angela. You say that your relationship with Angela started January 2nd?
We met at the Starbucks in Anaheim. We just hit it off. She was just a sweetheart. Everything I ever wanted in a woman. Everything.
Oh, you have pregnancy tests.
I have pregnancy tests. This was found after she left. This is the one that I was shown for the twins. It's always been peed on. And then I found these two with a different kind of line in it. And then I found 3 different pens. And if you can tell from the side here, this one's been altered and opened up at some point.
So she drew the line in it.
She drew the line.
Ian explained to the police the sonogram was fake.
This just about killed me, right? If you Google fake sonograms, that one comes up at like number 10 on Google Images. With other people's names on it.
With other people's names on it.
After Angela left, I was starting to uncover all sorts of wacky stuff.
She lied about her job?
Yes, she admitted that she did not have the job.
When did she admit that? We'll get to that in a minute too. Okay, so Ian brought everything. They found it to the condo. The sonogram was number 10 on Google Images, and it had other people's names on it. Ian was not in a great place. Oh no. We can hear multiple voice messages to Angela. He just sounds defeated. She admitted that she didn't have a job, and they now think that there should be some doubt on the charges. With the quotation, did any of these emails actually come from Michelle? So they told the police to go find Angela. Go find her, right?
Hey, it's Dakota.
So this is a phone call with Angela.
Do you know Jason Rayburn at all?
It's a person I dated a while ago.
Okay.
Obviously much before you.
Oh, okay. And then, did you ever get sick? Did you ever get sick to the point where there's talk about you had, like, cancer?
There was talk about it. I had to have, skin cancer biopsies removed, and I was super stressed out.
Okay, so no chemotherapy or anything like that?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, this was a mindfuck. Like, do you know Jason Rayburn at all and all this stuff? Anyway, so then we get some more news clips. Oh, plot twist.
Team 12's Kevin Kennedy joins us from the Live Alert Center with a plot twist. Kev? Michelle Hadley spent 4 months in jail for a crime she didn't commit. Police say she was framed by a vindictive woman who was willing to take extraordinary actions to ruin her life.
Extraordinary actions to ruin her life. So Angela had once asked, we kind of go back into some memories and stuff. Angela had apparently once asked Leslie on how Michelle and Ian's relationship ended. Of course, because you always want to know about the ex, right? So Angela freaked out, worried after hearing that she was never going to be able to get rid of Michelle. So we are hit with the tech. Angela was arrested on January 6, 2017 and pled guilty to all charges including fraud, false imprisonment, and falsely reporting a crime. Ian Diaz annulled the marriage to Angela in April 2017. Angela was sentenced to 5 years in prison and moved away from California. She declined to take part in this film. I think we're pretty much done with Angela for now. for now because, okay, we're just going to get there. So Michelle was finally free to go. The charges were dropped. Yay, we get a little press.
Obviously, this has been a huge nightmare for me. Probably the most traumatic experience of my life. And I'm glad it's finally over. And I finally get to move on with my life.
Now, here's what they don't mention in the documentary. It's not finally over. So she did do, when they first released her from jail. So this is the scene after the sentencing for Angela or whatever. But the scene when she was released from prison, she was not free of the charges yet, believe it or not. She was still being charged. She was released from prison with an ankle monitor, which they did not mention in the documentary. But basically, they're going back and forth. They're like painting the women crazy, right? But what about the men?
But they didn't want to talk about the man involved. Nobody wanted to talk about that. I wanted someone to listen to me. I wanted to tell someone what actually happened. Because there was a lot more to tell.
Which, okay, by this point, I think we're halfway through the documentary. I thought that was, I was like, what are they going to do for the next 45 minutes? We're about to find out. So, pivot. We're going to Washington, D.C., This is going to get confusing. So this is Jason number 2. We're calling him Jason Higley. He works for the DOJ investigating DOJ employees. Like that's his specialty. He actually he's the internal investigator for the DOJ. So he was obligated to go back over the case. And he listened to the interview with Ian Diaz.
This is put it lightly, a monster of a case. Our job is to find out who's doing what, and that's why we pulled you in here, talk to you, and we appreciate you coming in here and making a statement. All right, tell me some good news, because my heart is out. Okay, what is going on here?
My general impression of Ian and his responses is that he's a bit anxious. Okay. In addition to those recordings, there were a few things in the body camera footage that jumped out to me.
Yeah, so in the body cam footage, you can see that Ian leaves the camera frame because that's what they said in the documentary. They said in the documentary, Ian leaves the room. He didn't leave the room. He left the frame of the body cam. He's still just off to the side. That confused me like crazy. But while Angela is talking to the police, she's getting stuff mixed up. She's getting times wrong. They were like, when's the last time that you heard from her? And she was like 3 days ago. And he was like, no, girl, today, 5:30. Remember? That's why they're here. And she's like, oh my God. Yeah, I forgot that part. So it sounds like he's trying to coach Angela. So this is where Jason number 2, Jason Higley, starts to wonder, is Ian involved? Ian has so much animus towards Michelle. He's saying things like, lock that bitch up. I mean, what do we have to do to combat this woman? Just crazy stuff, right? Okay, so now we're back to an interview with Michelle. This is a trigger. This could be a trigger warning for, it rhymes with grape. And just from trauma in general, especially like kidnapping, domestic violence, all that stuff. So if that's triggering for you, you may want to go grab some more tea, right? Because that's what we're doing. So in this interview with Michelle, she's talking about how she's on a break at work and Ian calls.
Early in the relationship, I'm on a break at work and Ian calls me to talk to me. And I'm right outside my work building. And he tells me, hey, I have this fantasy that I want to watch you have sex with another man.
Okay. So I did, first of all, girl is at work on a break. What are you doing calling her in the middle of the day talking about this shit? Literally, this is a conversation you have in person at home. What are you doing? Oh my God. I was like, seriously, dude, you have no couth at all. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, and I was going through some Reddit stuff on, what he said he wanted. I'm not judging anybody who's a cuck. I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum, but forcing somebody to do that is a different story. But we'll get back to that in a minute. She says she's not all about that. She describes herself as wholesome, like too wholesome, but he kept bringing it up. So multiple times a week, he was bringing it up saying, hey, I would love to do that. And then sometimes when she would get annoyed with him, he would backpedal and say it was just talk. And then he would send her links of men he wanted her to do this with. And she was kind of, now this is the portion in the documentary that pissed me off because we already learned that Michelle married her high school sweetheart. So she has been in a relationship before, but she says, maybe this is just what you do in relationships. That's what she said she thought. And I'm like, girl, you were married for 4 years. What are you talking about? Did you do that in the previous one too? Maybe she did. Maybe this is just a serial thing that's been happening to her. I don't know. But for her to claim obliviousness to that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then she decided, fine, I'll just do it once. So February 14th, yep, that one. Valentine's Day, girl is sick. I guess I can go ahead and mention this because even though that was not in the documentary, I don't think it's in my bombshell notes, but February 14th, she decides to do it just this once. Now, what the documentary does not mention is that she was sick. She had a cold. And so she was doped up on cough syrup and he fed her 3 shots of Fireball and filmed it. And that film, she begged him to delete and he never did. She constituted it to grape, essentially. They moved into the condo. They got engaged and moved into the condo. He started asking her to do weird things about herself, like fake nails, belly button piercings, dressing in certain ways, telling her when to wear what. And then most days for her, it was like drive to work, drive to school, drive home. There was like a triangle. And I don't think she described it in this documentary, but she did describe in interviews that she had like a triangle that she could not go out of. And as soon as she left that triangle, bam, he was texting or calling or whatever. Things escalated very, very quickly. And he installed security cameras inside the house facing the kitchen. So she was in this like situation where she says she, quote, couldn't stay but couldn't leave, which I get that. Like, you know, you've melded your life with somebody all of a sudden. Now, like, what are you going to do? All of your life savings is in this house. That was all of her money. She put all of her money into this house. Oh, and then there's this crazy unhinged story of a ride that happened with them too.
One time, we get into his car and he gets very angry at me. He takes off. He's driving really, really fast and we get on the freeway. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just slams the brakes on me hard. And he tells me, get out of the car. As I'm about to open the door, he reaches over me and he slams it closed. And he says, what's wrong with you? Are you crazy? I'm shaking at this point. He takes the ring off my finger and basically tells me that I'm not getting it back until I can learn how to behave myself.
Not getting anything back until she learns how to behave herself. So he's breaking her down at this point. I mean, I would have been like, keep the ring, I'm out. But like she was like at this point where she was just too scared. She even says in the documentary, she was too scared to report anything because she thought they would take his side. And I mean, that's what this pretty much whole thing is about, because they did. It's called like the blue blindness or something like that. And he works for the DOJ. Like, of course they're going to take his side. She knew she needed to leave. She needed to get out of there. So there was this one instance when in the documentary, it says that she like bolted while Ian was talking to Leslie on the phone. But I heard from other sources that she packed up only what she could fit in the car and left. But either way, girl escapes. She says, girl, bye. I'm not doing this. She drives away crying, hoping that he doesn't follow. She has no money because, again, all of it was tied up into the condo. And she drives to her parents' house. Now, I think at this point, she had left some of her stuff there, which is kind of something to note. But he starts spamming messages, calling her all kinds of names. She doesn't feel like anywhere is safe, of course, because he's a psycho in the DOJ. And I mean, like, he's constantly texting her, tracking her, all this stuff. She feels in her bones, right, that the next step for him is to try and kill her. And she wrote a couple of angry emails to Ian.
So I wrote a couple of very angry emails to Ian, and I'm really scared of what he's going to do. I leave my phone, my laptop, all of my devices that I think he could potentially track me on. I get into my car. I'm basically like, get me the fuck out of here.
Okay, so another thing that they did not mention. So this is when she writes her emails, right? The two that we're talking about. So again, they don't mention the time on this one. That's why I wanted y'all to make sure that you knew these emails that she wrote, the angry ones, were in September of 2015. Now, the incidents when all this crap happened with Angela started in June of 2016. Weird. Anyway, so she left all the devices she thought he could track her on and gets into the car. What they don't tell you, and I'm pretty sure because they didn't want to implicate Michelle, she self-medicated a lot with alcohol because of the financial and emotional stress along with her PTSD diagnosis. She was diagnosed with PTSD before this incident happened, and she self-medicated with alcohol to try to just deal with all of this emotional stress, right? And that's when she wrote the emails and got into the car and drove. So y'all, don't drink and drive, but also that's what happened. And she describes herself as feeling like she could feel herself slipping away, and she drove for 24 hours. And when she comes back to, she's in the middle of nowhere and she gets picked up by this Native American family in Arizona, which is apparently where she ended up. I researched the fuck out of that and could not find any information on the Native American family from Arizona. I have no idea who they are or what happened. I don't know how much credibility there is to that story. I'll just have to take her word for it at the moment. So she ends up in the hospital. They kind of tell her like, hey, this is a dissociative episode from PTSD from what happened with Ian. But that's why later when they ask her, when they were interrogating her, that's why she admitted to the emails, but it didn't really make sense. And furthermore, they probably thought she was talking about the first two emails and not all of these crazy ones, because at this point, I don't think she knew about the crazy emails. And then this part, I'm just including because it really touched my heart. But she finally was able to talk to the officer.
I thought he was going to think I was crazy, but he didn't. He believed me.
Like, finally, this girl has been tormented by not only her ex, but by the judicial system in general. There's nowhere this girl can turn to. And finally, somebody in law enforcement is like, I believe you. I believe you. So the 2 religious emails that we mentioned that were sent in September of 2015, those were actually sent by Michelle. And those are what Ian used to write the other emails. So Angela might have only been a passenger. So they tracked down Rick, who gives us the ick, right?
Fighters in Southern California are battling a wildfire that's threatening 1,500.
I want to be anonymous because I don't want to be known for my sexual fantasies. Because I am a single parent and I didn't want to date at that point, I was on the Craigslist meeting people for casual encounters.
So he's a single parent and didn't really feel like meeting anybody. Now, I do understand where that comes from. Sometimes you're just in the single parent lifestyle. You're not in the mood. I know you fucking hate that, but I'm actually going to kind of defend this man because I'll show you in a minute. So, right. It was a great fantasy, but he was a single parent. You know, single parents are busy enough as it is. Dating is already really, really hard. So I understand that aspect. Like, he just needs his, physical needs met, but he's okay with his family life and everything. And they show us a screenshot of the great fantasy ad that he had. Let's read it together, shall we? Because it is actually not terrible. It says, I'm looking for a woman who has fantasies about being great or forced to perform. I've done this before with a couple of ex-girlfriends and found it very intense and exciting. We would agree on the limits before meeting. We can meet in a safe location, like at a hotel. I'm clean-cut professional, sane, fit, drug disease-free, with a dominant side, who loves submissive women in general. So if you're looking to explore this fantasy, send me a note and let's talk. Again, this is just play. I am into the sex part only, not into pain or violence. Women only, please. Not the worst ad I've ever read. Not gonna lie. Like, it's not terrible. But for Craigslist, I mean, I would still I wouldn't respond to anything like that. But I'm saying, like, it wasn't like, I need to physically hurt you. No. It was more about a dominant submission side. He was very much into consent, but just a little bit of role play. So I am gonna, defend him just a little bit because, believe it or not, submission roleplay it's in the top 10 most common kinks, not fetishes. There's a difference. But it's in one of the most common kinks. So I do understand this, and his ad was very sensible and reasonable. That's the one thing. I think, honestly, and I didn't put that in my notes, but I was thinking that as I typed it. It was just bad choice of words. That's all it was for that ad. I do not, because he kind of pivots. He says he's looking for people who may have this fantasy, but hey, well, we can do some of the fantasy, but I'm not into pain. I'm not into any of that. It's just for sex. It has to be consensual, blah, blah, blah. Because that's really the only part he ever mentions that word. So maybe, and it could have been used as like a tag for a keyword, because I can't remember how Craigslist worked, but I think it used to work on keyword tags. So like anything that was in there. Because I remember a lot of people used to put like tag, grabbers. Because if you're wanting to do this, you're not wanting to do this in a week. You're wanting to do it pretty soon, I imagine. So Ian was talking to Rick as Michelle, right? He was responding to that ad that we saw just a minute ago. And when the police were like looking at him and how he found the ad or whatever, he didn't search or anything. Like, he actually just navigated and knew exactly where to go. He used his personal email account to jump into the conversation, and he used Angela in the voice in the message. So they were doing this together. He had it all ready to go. And then, of course, Jason number 2, our investigator, he's like, wait a minute. Okay, so we have somebody pretending to be somebody else.
This is Ian pretending to be Michelle, pretending to be Angela, catfishing someone to the condo. This is a very complicated case. This could be confusing to a jury.
1000%, because me just saying that out loud, I was like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. But okay, what? Back it up. So yeah, this could be very confusing to a jury. So Jason number 2, our investigator, he had to go through and really dig into this to show and solidify to a jury, right? Because, you're going to have to convince a jury above everybody else. So we start going through some of the footage that was there. And we could go back, but I'm not going to. If you want, you can rewind or watch the doc. But there's instances when he puts the badge on the table in the body cam. He's trying to show credibility. I work with the DOJ, of course. Listen to me. And then there's that one part in the body cam footage when he's standing outside the door with his badge and gun, again, trying to show credibility. He manipulated the police through and through, but the police, I'm not letting them go easily either, because I've read the court documents. And let me tell you, Detective Lee, if you still work at the Anaheim Police Department, you should be ashamed of yourself. Anyway, so let me move on. Escalated with the incident in the beginning. He persuaded the police to act quickly, remember? And that's kind of when the body cam footage that we see right before they act quickly, she mentions that she's pregnant with twins. Put a pin in that because we're about to get to it. We're getting close. We're getting close. So he had stuff on his computer.
As I got deeper and deeper into Ian's DOJ, Marshal Service issued devices, it turns out what he had on his computer was very significant to us. When you create a Word document, it's creating temp files in the background. And so if you lose power or you forget to hit save, you can then recover it. And on Ian's DOJ laptop, we found fragments of a Lilith is Truth email. This was evidence that Ian Diaz is Lilith.
Yeah, so idiot Ian Diaz did all of this stuff on his work laptop. You can't make this up. Anyway, so incredible. But again, like Jason number 2, our investigator says, when you are creating a Word document or anything really, if it's Windows related, they're going to create temp files like crazy. It annoys the hell out of me. But in this case, it actually worked out. So they create it in the background. So in case your application crashes, your computer crashes, whatever, you can recover the document as much as you can anyway, because sometimes it doesn't work. The lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch decided to shit where he ate and did all of this stuff. They were able to recover fragments of the Lilith is Truth email address, which is like where all of these emails came from, right? Bam! It is time to finally arrest the motherfucker. And cheers, let's go! So Ian was arrested on May 13th of 2021. Let that sink in. All of this shit with Michelle. Michelle got arrested, life sentenced, all of that stuff within a month, right? June 24th to July 13th, she was arrested. Then they figure out it wasn't her 3 months later. We're still in 2016. Ian Diaz does not get arrested until 2021. 5 years. Can you? I'm going to lose my mind. Anyway, so he was found guilty on all counts, is what the documentary said. But when I was doing some research in the court documents, he had 4 charges and was only charged with 3. I don't know if I misread it, but that's why I'm not going to actually like cite it or anything. But when I read the court documents, he had 4 counts, not 3. But he was found guilty on the 3 counts. The first count was conspiracy to commit stalking, where I guess maybe they dropped it, but he pled guilty to all charges. Here we have the text on the screen, right, where they always say, like, what happened? So Ian Diaz was dismissed by U.S. Marshal Service in 2023. Explain that to me! Again, he was arrested in 2021, dismissed by the marshals in 2023. Explain this to me, somebody. Okay. So he pled not guilty to all charges brought against him, but was convicted of stalking, perjury, and obstruction of justice. He is serving a federal prison sentence in Texas. And then we go back to Leslie, the best friend. Are y'all ready?
I wouldn't doubt that people think that I'm blinded by my friendship with Ian and that somehow I'm missing some deep, dark side of him. I love him with all my heart. He is like a part of my family and I will love him forever, but I am not in love with Ian.
Yes, you are.
So
just admit it.
There's your side, my side, and the truth.
Yeah.
But there is no evidence that anyone could show me that would make me doubt Ian's innocence. Because I see that Angela is a serial imposter, and she pled guilty to charges, and an innocent person does not plead guilty.
Girl, have you seen so many false confessions? An innocent person does not plead guilty. I hate her so much. Leslie, I hate you. Okay. You're blind. You're really dumb. You say you're not in love with him, and then the next sentence you say there is no evidence that anyone could show me that make me doubt Ian's innocence. Please, please, please stop talking. Just get off camera. I don't know what made you think this was going to make you look good in this documentary, but girl, have all the seats. Just have all the seats. Is she a Disney adult too? That's what the problem is. That's what the problem is. So, all right. So we're wrapping up towards the end of the documentary. So they're trying to understand the motive for Ian. They were like, maybe it's the condo. Maybe Ian wanting to control someone. And I was just like, yes. Yeah, because like Michelle got away and that made him angry, right? So in this whole thing, Angela was the perfect partner because she was portrayed as the victim. Remember, she's such a good actress. She's a liar. And Ian exploited that. And then we get hit with the text. So the first screen says, Ian Diaz sold the condo in 2016 while Michelle was in prison. She never got her down payment back. Bullshit! How are we not doing? Ugh! I'm so mad about that. Like, because they had a contractual agreement, which they did not really mention in the documentary, but they had a contractual agreement that when she moved out, he was supposed to pick up the mortgage starting in June of 2016. Now, that's when all of this shit escalated. Okay, so it is partly the condo. And then if he was not able to fulfill the financial responsibilities, he was to sell the condo and they were to split the proceeds. So yeah, this is bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm so mad. Anyway, and then we're hit with the next text where it says, Michelle Hadley spent 88 days in prison. She was fully exonerated of all charges. She did not create the Lilith Is Truth email account or send emails from it. She successfully sued the Anaheim Police Department and was awarded significant damages in 2021. Now, they don't tell you what the damages were, so I did some digging and found it. Her settlement number was $1.795 million. So the Anaheim Police Department had to pay her almost $2 million for this shit. So I was like, thank you. Thank you. At least there was some silver lining to this parade of bullshit. So we end it with, she starts dating again, Michelle. She got pregnant and she gives birth the same day that Ian gets convicted. All right, now are you ready to dive into some shit? The first bombshell I'm going to hit you with. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Before the trial against Ian Diaz, he had since remarried and also became a dad. He should have gotten the max sentence, which was 20 years, but since the offensive conduct took place over 7 years ago and his life had changed significantly for the better, he was sentenced to 10 years and 1 month. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay, here's one of the bombshells. So Michelle was actually arrested twice. Remember, she was arrested in July 13th, and then she was arrested June 24th, and then July 13th. So on June 24th, when they arrested her, this is what, oh my God. So we're going to start with the ineptitude that is these cops. I'm looking at you, Detective Lee. I hate you. So when she was arrested on the 24th, she had $100,000 and that was her bail. So I quote this from This is from Buzzfeed. Hadley posted the $100,000 bail and was released the following morning. Angela subsequently reported that the threatening messages, which allegedly stopped while Hadley was in custody, resumed after her release. Now, I looked up the timing on when the emails started back up again after her release. 1 hour. 1 hour. The emails started up 1 hour after she was released. Now listen to this next part. According to Hadley's federal lawsuit, however, police had confiscated her phone, tablet, and laptop during her June 24th arrest and had not returned them. I hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. Detective Tap That Ass would have not let us down. Absolutely not. No. She didn't have her laptop or anything, any communication devices when they released her from jail. That's how the defense attorneys finally started understanding, because the hour when she was getting released from jail, she was sitting on the courtroom steps waiting for her ride when the first email came through. If this was such a miscarriage of justice, I'm almost like 1.795 million was not enough. It was not enough. I need to calm down. Where's my tea? Okay. That's one of the bombshells. Now, we have some lingering questions here. I know, literally, what in the actual fuck? When I was done with this research, I'm like, I'm so mad at the police. I have to go sit down. Like, I had to leave. I had to leave my desk. I thought about taking up drinking again. I don't know. So one of the questions is how Ian and Angela met. They met at a Starbucks, but they actually met online. So y'all, are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Hang on. Let me go through the other notes before I get into my theories. So these are some notes from the Dateline episode. So this is another thing that lets you know just how fucked up Ian is. Okay, are you ready? Ian told Michelle, our hero, Ian told Michelle he loved her on their second date. Anyway, after the emails, here's another note from the Dateline notes. So after the emails, Ian tried getting a restraining order and accused her of infidelity. He accused her of cheating. Now, put a pin in that, because this is kind of where I'm leading up to. Y'all are gonna, okay, I'm not there yet. So while Michelle was in jail for the second time, remember, she was arrested once, posted bail, then arrested, and she had the $1 million bail, right? So while Michelle was in jail for the second time, her parents were looking for a criminal defense attorney and going through the case evidence themselves. Mike, her dad, went through the emails and the IP addresses and started to trace them. Why does he have to do this? I couldn't believe this part. I was like, the police never went through this? The police never started going through and tracing the IP addresses? No, Mike, her fucking dad, had to do this. Ugh. Let me, just pour this on me. I need to cool off. So Mike, her dad, had to go through the evidence in the investigation, not the police, because the police were doing fuck all. We don't even know. This is one of the things that I already kind of mentioned. So when Michelle was released after the 88 days, the DA released her from jail, but did not drop the charges against her, and the investigation would continue. She had to wear an ankle bracelet that she said, quote, she would wrap with a bandage because she was embarrassed. So they're literally still tarnishing her reputation, even though it's pretty evident that she had nothing to do with it. All right. Now we're going to start getting into some other things, y'all, because I'm about to make a statement that is going to be it's gonna rifle your feathers a little bit. I don't know if that's how you say it. Ruffle. I said rifle. It's gonna ruffle some feathers a little bit. Okay. I also think Angela was a victim. Okay. I know you're like, wait. Angela, the con artist that lied about the cancer and all this stuff. Yes. I do think Angela was a victim. I'm going to paint a picture for you, and then you can decide. This is from the Casefile Podcast note. Ian said in his deposition that he started to suspect Angela in August. What did he start to suspect? Well, for starters, and I know, explain myself. I'm going to get there. So Angela told him that the car was at the mechanic when in reality it had been repossessed in February. Okay, put a pin in that. So in February of 2026, Angela told him that the car was at the mechanic when it had actually been repossessed. Okay, that's the first one. First little lie. Next, Angela told him, Ian, that she worked at a courthouse. And he figured out that this was fake with the payslips and the fake colleague she made up. Or I'm sorry, not 2026. Sorry, 2016. My notes are wrong. 2016. February 20. I wrote 2026 because it's the current year. 2016. You can find that information at medium.com. On the date of repossession, because I had to go and look for this because it plays an important role in the story I'm about to tell you. Angela told him she worked at a courthouse. He found out that that was a lie because of the fake payslips and the fake colleagues that she made up. Here's another thing. This one kind of opened up the can of worms for me. So Angela had credit cards and bank statements issued in an anonymous name, but in the anonymous document, they say Daniel Clark, like in quotes. So that's the name they gave Mr. Anonymous. Angela had credit cards and bank statements issued in the name of Daniel Clark, and she said that Daniel Clark was just a friend whom she sometimes received mail. Earlier in that month, Ian had discovered a Facebook message in a filtered spam folder that was sent 7 months earlier in February. February again. It was from Daniel's sister, claiming that Angela was in a long-term relationship with Daniel and they had just found out that she was cheating on him with Ian. What? So Angela had credit cards and everything that she was using with somebody that she was in a previous relationship with. So she was like already cheating on Daniel Clark. Now I know you're like, Jared, that does not make her a victim. That makes her like even worse. I'm getting there. Shut up. I will get there. This is where the tables are going to turn and I'm going to try to mold your minds a little bit. Okay. Remember how I told y'all earlier at the beginning that Angela had a miscarriage. And so they wanted to try to have kids as fast as they could. And that's when she announced that she was pregnant with twins, right? Now, remember, when was this miscarriage? It was April. That's what the documentary says. In April, she was struck with a miscarriage. Now, this is from Buzzfeed, okay? And this is what got me. Okay, so this is from Buzzfeed News. A Toxic Love Story explores Angela's history of deception, including her claim that she was pregnant with twins at the time of the alleged attack. As the documentary reveals, after Ian learned that Angela faked the pregnancy, he turned her into police and accused her of framing Hadley. During a conversation with police, Ian said Angela had claimed that Hadley's alleged harassment caused her to miscarry in 2016. According to Buzzfeed News, Ian told investigators that this claim is also false. He said Angela terminated an earlier pregnancy after he urged her to have an abortion because he was uncertain whether or not he was the father. So let me get this straight. So he's claiming in August is when he found out about this deception, but he's accusing her of infidelity in April, 2 months after they got married. Make it make sense. You can't. So now I'm gonna do another little picture for you, okay? Because I'm telling you, this is where things start getting crazy. Yeah, so she was pregnant the first time. Remember when? No, not with twins. The first, maybe, I don't know. I mean, we don't really know whether or not that actually, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. But we'll never know. But maybe she was. Maybe he forced her to have an abortion of twins, which makes my theory even more dark. And it makes Angela even more of a victim. So where's Angela now? Because it's been past her 5-year sentence, right? Well, Angela Connell is what she goes by now. She goes by Angie. She lives in Phoenix, Arizona. She works as a director of peer counseling for an abortion access advocacy organization called Exhale Pro Voice. The documentary also won't mention But from what I looked up, it looks like her unofficial diagnosis in everybody's opinion. No, don't go find her. Don't go find her. Yeah, I know. I do have questions for her. But it's called histrionic personality disorder, cluster B mental health condition characterized by persistent, overwhelming need to be the center of attention and intense unstable emotions. People with this type often display dramatic, theatrical, and sometimes inappropriately provocative or seductive behavior to gain approval. The picture I want to paint is going to be one of trauma, and I'm sorry for anybody that might have trauma, but what it sounds like is that Ian was already on to her. Like, I think she did go into the relationship thinking that she was going to con Ian, because when she went into the relationship, she had no insurance, no job, remember, because she was faking it. She had no insurance, no job. She had no car, right, because it was at the mechanic. She had nothing, like nowhere to go, no money, no income, no nothing. So, like, I kind of understand, you know, like, she kind of becomes dependent on Ian really, really quick. And I think she starts wanting to manipulate as fast as possible. And that's why she lies about the job and everything, right? But I think Ian found out about the infidelity sooner. I think he found out in March. And the reason I think that is because the emails that were like in her dispose or her spam folder or whatever on Facebook that said that she was already in a relationship with somebody named Daniel Clark, those were in the spam folder in late February. If that's the case, then why would he convince her, if he only found out about this in August, why would he ask her to get an abortion because she thought he was accusing her of infidelity in April? That doesn't make sense. You don't just randomly accuse somebody of infidelity unless you have evidence or you've seen it or something. So not only did he, I think, force her to have an abortion, because we have that in the interview, forced her to have an abortion because he thought she was cheating, essentially. Or he didn't know that he was the father or not. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, she had a life or death decision to make right there, right? Because she didn't have any job. She didn't have anything. I think at this point, he had her. I think he had his claws in her. Hook, line, sinker, ready to go. And so she kind of became the new Michelle, right? Like, she was in a situation that she could not leave, but she could not stay. But I think he started kind of shaping her. He won the yes, exactly. They were both master manipulators. He won the competition, but she became a victim really fast because he forced her to have an abortion. Forced her. And I think it's just really, really interesting to think that he forced her to have an abortion. And then, like, that's kind of where she goes to work now. Like, she's a peer counselor for abortion access at a clinic called Exhale Pro Voice. That's not a coincidence. I think he manipulated this whole entire thing. I think he blackmailed Angela at one point, because who's going to believe her, right? She already lied about the cancer and everything else. And she lied about the infidelity, the previous relationship, the job, the car. I mean, she lied about everything, right? So he had her. He could do what he wanted with her, which is just what he wanted. Now he's got two puppets, right? And this is also what I think happened. I think with Michelle, this is where I think he kind of destroyed himself, right? So I think Angela tried to escape him. I think Angela was done with the whole thing. I think Angela wanted out, right? Because it had escalated too much. Because as much as some of these lies were crazy, and they were crazy, a couple of things stood out to me. One is he says he found multiple pregnancy tests. I think she played her part under blackmail. I think she played her part under force. And that's why I think she's a victim. I think she manipulated him a lot at the beginning, but he caught her really, really quickly and started blackmailing her from April forward. So there were multiple pregnancy tests that he found, right? With like markers. He said, this is one of the ones that she used for her update. And I'm like, how did you know that, first of all? And then one of the ones, like, if you just found these, how did you know that this is the one that she used versus this one versus this one? It was very, very weird that he said that in the interview, right? And it's also weird that if they were scattered in such secret hidden places, how did he find all three? I don't know. The other thing was when she left, and the timing seemed a little suspicious to me. So the phone call that he gave to Leslie was at 2 a.m. Now, I don't know about y'all. And besties, I love y'all to death. Now, another thing I'm going to mention is that he's 37 at this time, which is like 10 years older than me right now, but it's whatever. To me, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, a respect thing. I have a lot of respect for my friends. Like, unless somebody is dead or dying, I'm not calling somebody at 2 a.m. I might send a text. But to call somebody in the morning at 2 a.m. saying she made the whole thing up, it was a lie, the pregnancy was a lie, it does not compute with me. Now, this is entirely speculation on my part, but I think they had a tussle. I think they were arguing about something. And I think she said, unless somebody's dead, like you get one free 2 a.m. call with me, and then that's it. If it's not an emergency, I'll make sure to set up a block timer for you, okay? I don't know, the 2 a.m. phone call to tell somebody that she lied about the pregnancy, I can understand, maybe. It's just weird to me now that he did that and she left. It is shocking. It is very, very shocking. And I know you want to do an outlet, but I also feel like maybe he was trying to get ahead of the story. And she went all the way to Arizona. So she went home. This isn't a fight where you go to like a hotel room and you stay there and you're like, okay, we'll resolve this in the morning. No, she went to Arizona. She was like, I'm out. I think he was trying to get ahead of the story. I think she was trying to escape. Because if you were trying to work it out, like you were so sorry about the lie or whatever, you've got this, personality disorder, whatever it be, you'd probably try to work it out, try to explain yourself, anything. No, she did not want to explain herself to him. She did not want anything to do. She bolted and did not get back into contact with him until the detective contacted her. So that's what I think happened. And we also know about Ian's manipulativeness, right? We know that he told Michelle that he loved her second date. So I do think Angela was an accomplice, but also I think she was a victim. I think this probably traumatized her. Probably not as much as poor Michelle. Poor Michelle, I mean, girl, I just feel so bad for her. Did anybody else if you've watched the documentary, did anybody feel Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt vibes from Michelle? Because she just reminded me so much of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. So the reason that I think partially for the lie, for the twins, in my head, I was like, okay, she wasn't earlier pregnant with twins and she was like doing, and she got forced to have the abortion. Maybe it was her way of maybe it was a coping mechanism. Like maybe she was going to fake a pregnancy, but like in her head, she like already lost the child, right? Because this asshole forced her to have an abortion. I think maybe it could have been, in my mind, I'm like, maybe this was a coping mechanism for her. Like to incorporate her unborn child into the lie. Fake pregnancies are terrible. That is absolutely terrible. But it could have been, I don't know her story. My traumas are way different. As much as I hated Angela at the beginning, after doing a lot of this research, I don't hate her as much as I did originally. The fact that he forced her to have an abortion, I almost think that cancels it out. So Angela is doing okay now, and she's the director of peer counseling at the Abortion Access Advocacy Organization. Just let that sink in though. Like, she's been lying about being in the DOJ, lying about being a lawyer. But now she has got a job, y'all. Like, this is like the first job that she's had in 10 years, right? And she's working at an abortion access advocacy organization. I think that also might have to do with some of the trauma. So yeah, this documentary was a whirlwind. If you have not seen it, I highly suggest you go watch it. It's on Netflix right now. The Netflix one was a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster for sure. I just wish this is one of those that I'm like, I hate that they didn't do it in a 3-part series or 4-part series with more information included, because this has been going on for 10 years, right? So yeah, was Angela a horrible person at the beginning? 100%. Did she become a victim? Who knows? I convoluted all of that in my head. So we will never know for sure. And Angela didn't want to be in the documentary, so we'll never know. So I think Ian already knew. I think he used Angela, and I think all of this should have been pinned on him, all of it. I also have sources included, as well as areas where you can find the podcast, the Dateline episode, and all of the articles in which I found all of this information. I forgot to list the court documents. If you want to take a look at those court documents, it's like reading Latin, but once you find the good parts, you find the good parts.